All right, guys, this is Zaxter99, and it's time we talked a little bit about my favorite team, which I'm embarrassed to say at this point, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I know there's a lot of you Cowboy fans out there that are probably tuning into this video and watching this, but you're not about to admit, especially on the internet, that you're a Cowboys fan. I know there's those of you out there ashamed to admit it, knowing how awful our defense is going to suck this year. First up in the news, Orlando Scandrick tested positive for using performance-enhancing drugs. The NFL has suspended him for the first 4 games of the season. So we're not going to see him until week 5 when the Cowboys play the Texans. Another hit and another hit to our defense that's already plagued by injuries and losses. We already lost to Marcus Ware, who's in Denver. We've lost Jason Hatcher, who's now a Redskin. Sean Lee is hurt. He's out for the season. We lost to Marcus Lawrence, who we drafted in hopes that would give us some kind of penetration and quarterback pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. But he's out now for probably at least 4 to 6 weeks of the first season before he's going to be able to play again. And now we lose Scandrick, one of our best cornerbacks. He'll be replaced by Claiborne, but Claiborne is not looking that good in training camp, they say. He's definitely not living up to the hype that he had when the Cowboys drafted him. And then, of course, we got Carr, who always plays pretty solid. But a defense that's already plagued by injuries, and now we have another loss for 4 weeks by losing Scandrick. How bad can it get? How bad can the Cowboys defense get after being ranked number 32 in the league last year, giving up 415.3 yards per game? That's an average, 415.3 yards per game given up. Are they going to top 500 yards per game on average given up this year? We better hope that our offense can score a lot of points. So that raises me to our next question, Tony Romo. Tony Romo is 34 years old now. He's had 2 back surgeries. Last year he had a back surgery to remove a cyst on his back. This year, at the end of the season, he had the major back surgery. And while Jerry Jones says he's at 100%, Wade Wilson, the Cowboys quarterback coach, says that he's still suffering, especially on those deep passes. And we already know, if you've been watching, Romo is sitting out probably an average of twice a week on practices that the rest of the team practices, he sits out. At least once a week, probably more like on average two times a week, that he should be out there practicing, he's sitting out. Hopefully this is making him healthier. But if Romo can't play, if Romo gets hit wrong, if Romo even moves wrong in one of these games in the season, early on in the season, he could be done. Now, people might laugh at this, or people might not believe this, but when we look back, there's been a lot of players that have had back surgery, that have had bad backs, and either had to quit or had to retire because of it. We look back at Troy Aikman. A lot of people think Troy Aikman retired because he had taken too many hits to the head and concussions, which was pretty bad for him, because he wasn't a mobile quarterback like Romo. But Aikman himself says that he retired at the age of 34, same age as Romo is. He retired the same year, same age, because of back problems, not concussions. It was to save his back. So, we may be near the end of the time with Tony Romo. I would be surprised at this point if Romo can play, and play well, and survive this whole season. Maybe he can, now that we've beefed up the offensive line with our number 1 draft pick, Zach Martin. But, it's going to still take a lot. Hopefully what we can do is use our running game to run the time off. This is what we have to do. I mean, there's no choice in this. We have to commit to the run this season if we're going to have a chance. We do not want these 80-yard passes down the sideline to Dez Bryant, Terrence Williams, and company. That's not what we want. Because what good is it going to do to score in 1 or 2 minutes or a quick drive? Even though we're scoring points, we're going to give the ball right back to the offense, the opposition, against our defense. Almost any offense in the league this year is probably going to be able to score at will against our defense. So what we have to have this year to even have a chance is we have to have ball control. We have to run the clock out. We have to be able to score points, obviously, but we need to be able to grind out first downs, grind the clock, and be able to keep the game manageable. We are not going to be able to win these games when we're trying to get into shootouts like 51-48 and 55-52 and stuff like that. We're going to end up losing a lot of heartbreakers if that happens. Romo is not going to be able to throw for, 8 touchdowns a game. It's simply not going to happen, and we can't rely on him with that back and all this major back surgery. And we can't put all of our trust in Romo this year like we always have. That's even if we have a hope and a prayer of at least going 8-8, which we've gone the last 3 years. Dez Bryant. Let's talk about Dez Bryant. Evidently, he's looking really good in practice and training, but he's already gotten scuffles with J.J. Wilcox last week. And Sunday, during practice, he got in a scuffle with who else but Orlando Scandrick. What do you guys think about Dez Bryant getting into all these scuffles with the cornerbacks for the Cowboys? Dez Bryant is fired up. He's ready to go. I believe that this is all on him. I believe he has so much desire and so much love for the Cowboys that he plays for that it comes out passionately, probably over passionately at times. And I think this is a good thing. I think this is healthy. So I like hearing that Dez Bryant is getting it on and getting it, getting into it, getting fired up while practicing. If he's this fired up against his own team, imagine what he's going to do when he gets out on the field against the opponents. I hope he lights it up. But again, let's go back to the ball control. We don't want Dez Bryant out there, having to rely on him to, catch 300 yards passing a game. We don't want Dez Bryant being the number one receiver in the league. No, we're going to lose too many games if that happens. We want ball control. We want DeMarco Murray running for 1,800 yards. And we want to grind the ball if we're going to have a hope, even a chance or a prayer of going 8-8 or 9-7 and making the playoffs. That's our only chance. Okay? So I'm going to tell you that right off the bat right now. Let's talk about Jerry Jones a minute. Last week we heard about all the, photos that we saw all over the internet of him dancing with the girls and stuff like that. I already made a video. I told you I didn't believe any of that stuff. I told you I thought it was nothing but the media and, just hyping something up that about photos that have been released. Jerry Jones now comes out, makes a statement, says those are 5-year-old photos, and he says that any of this talk about, blackmailing him or anything like that with those photos is totally ridiculous, and they're old photos, and it was just him having fun. I could really care less. We have a billionaire here in Jerry Jones. Okay, I don't care how old he is. He's 71, but I don't care how old he is. If you think that a 20-year-old girl or 25-year-old lady isn't going to be flirting with him, a billionaire, at a local bar or a party, you got to be smoking crack yourself. Because what sane woman out there, 18, 25, 30, doesn't matter, what sane woman out there wouldn't hope to brush up against him and get a smile out of him, maybe get him to pull out $100 or a check, or maybe get a piece of that $2.7 billion that Jerry Jones is worth? Any girl would be crazy not to be flirting, okay? And what old man, 71 years old, has been married to the same woman for 50 years, wouldn't want to flirt a little bit with those hot young things? I mean, that's in all of us guys. So, there's really nothing to talk about here. It's nothing but human nature at its very core. There's nothing to get juiced up about with Jerry Jones and these young ladies. I don't understand all the hype and all the media attention to that, to be honest with you, but I am addressing it. Let's go ahead and also address Jason Garrett. 8-8. the last 3 seasons as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones says again, when questioned, if the Cowboys don't make the playoffs, if the Cowboys, have a bad season, is he going to let go of Jason Garrett? Jones says hogwash. Jones says he is not putting Jason Garrett's career, or putting his career with the Cowboys as head coach on the line of the season. However, Jason Garrett is entering his last season on his contract, so we do have to wonder if Jerry Jones might go back on his word if the Cowboys were to go 2-14 and have an abysmal season. We know Jerry Jones ain't going to take any of the blame for that. We all know that. He's got a pretty big ego. He's not about to admit that. He's always going to blame the problems on, typically one person. It's been different defensive coordinators. It's been different head coaches, like when he, fired Phillips and thought that, they were going to change when they got a new head coach in there. But, no. It's always one person that gets blamed, gets cut, and one has to wonder if this year, if it might be Jason Garrett that gets the blame if the Cowboys have a bad season. I have to say yes, I think that Jason Garrett will probably be gone if they have a bad season, say, 2-14, 3-13, whatever. And that bad season is very likely to happen if Tony Romo gets hurt, has one of those bad landings, tweaks his back wrong, can't play, because we have Brandon Weeden coming in as quarterback. I told you guys in the Jerry Jones video not to get hyped up, even if he was to have a good game. This was before he had that game. I told you guys, even if he has a good game and looks good, he's not a good quarterback. He's still not a good quarterback, even though he had a good drive. I saw the play where he threw into the back of the end zone to James Hanna. It was a nice play. But again, he's out there playing against second-string defensive backs, third-string defensive backs, a whole defense that's, not a number one defense. And Brandon Weeden, I've watched him play when he played for the Browns. He is easily confused. Defenses have way too easy of a time blitzing him, doing some kind of trick blitz or anything like that. And if he's not expecting what he gets confused and he makes mistakes. So expect that if Brandon Weeden comes in, we're going to get more of the same. He's going to make a lot of mistakes. He's going to fumble. He's going to drop back too far, take 20, 30-yard losses, fumble the ball, throw a lot of interceptions, and that's just Brandon Weeden. I guarantee you, if Romo goes down and Brandon Weeden steps in, everybody here that's saying how bad Romo sucks is going to see exactly how good Romo was and exactly what the Cowboys are when they don't have him. Romo is the only reason, Romo is the only reason the Cowboys have been even in playoff contention the last 3 seasons. Been in that last game that if they won, they could have been in. Romo's the only reason they were there the last 3 seasons. The Cowboys weren't 4-12 and 3-13 and 2-14 the last 3 years. It's all Romo. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the Cowboys go about this with a defense that looks like they could only be worse than last year. We got to be able to give that defense that a lot of these guys we've got off the street, they're nobodies. We're going to have to be able to give these guys a break. We're going to have to let them rest. We're going to have these long, methodical drives where we actually run the ball well and pick up first downs, obviously. Run the ball, pick up first downs, drain the clock, and score touchdowns. If we can't do that, we're looking at another 1-15 season if we can't do that. If Romo gets hurt early in the season, we're probably also looking at anywhere from 2-14 to, I'd say, 5-11 at best. If Romo stays healthy and we can actually learn to quit relying on Romo, start relying on our running backs, DeMarco Murray and company, to start running the ball, we've got some good backs. So there's no reason we can't run the ball. We've picked up Zach Miller. We have Tyron Smith. And we have Travis Frederick at center. We still have some weaknesses in the offensive line. We don't know that this is the best offensive line the Cowboys ever had, or that's the best offensive line uh, in the NFL. So I wish people would quit saying that this is the best offensive line in the NFL, because it couldn't be further from the truth. We don't know this until they get out there this year and play together. We'll see how they do. For all we know, Doug Freeze is going to go to hell again and start getting penalties every other play. You know, we don't know what they're going to do. We don't know that Zach Miller is not going to get pushed around out there. I mean, he's a rookie. He was one in the first round, yeah, but he's a rookie, and we don't know how well he's going to play. For all we know, he gets hurt the first game. So I wish people would tone it down and quit talking about how Cowboys have the best offensive line in the NFL, because right now that's the furthest thing from the truth. They need to go out there and prove that they are the best offensive line. And if they can, and even if Brad Whedon has to come in and they can run the ball, who knows? Maybe the Cowboys can go 6-10, with Brandon Whedon. There's so many variables here that's going to come into play. For whatever reason, I got to say that as bad as our defense was last year, and with all the injuries and all the losses that we've had this year, I don't think our defense is going to be ranked number 32 this year. I don't think we're going to be the worst defense in the league. I just have a funny feeling we're not going to be good. We're not even going to be in the middle. But I have a feeling we might be somewhere around 25, 27, somewhere in there. So I think we're going to do better, at least as far as, rateness in the NFL, than we did last year. How that's going to happen, I have no idea. I really don't know what's going to happen to make us better on defense than we were last year. But I just got a funny feeling that we're going to do a little bit better, even with all our losses and everything else. I have a feeling that we're going to start off really bad, and week by week our defense is going to learn, and they're going to slowly get better towards the end of the season. So we'll see. We'll see if my hunch is right. But I did want to go ahead and talk about all those issues with the Cowboys. Evidently they had a good practice the other day, and they really did have a good practice, and they're kind of coming together. But there's a lot of variables that are coming in here that are vitally important. Things like, how healthy is Romo at 34 years old and after 2 major back surgeries the last 2 years? How about the health of the offensive line? How about the health of DeMarco Murray? Can DeMarco stay healthy for an entire season? Right? How about Dez Bryant's maturity? How is his maturity going to be on the field in the regular season games? He can't be getting in fights with the defensive corners out there getting his penalties or getting ejected from the game. He's got to be able to control his emotions out there, and hopefully he can do that. A couple of games last year, it looked like he really couldn't control his emotions. I like spirit. I like passion in the guy. I love that about Dez, but he needs to keep it under control. And let's hope that he does that, because he is probably one of our most talented players on the team besides Tony Romo. Dez Bryant's young. He's hungry. He has a lot of passion, and he shows it, and I love that about him. I still think the Cowboys in their salary cap situation should probably trade Dez, but we all know that's not going to happen. Dez sells jerseys. Dez is the one that sells the tickets. There's no way the Cowboys are going to let him go. In fact, I'll bet you before the start of the NFL season, maybe into the NFL season within the first month, Dez is going to get a new contract, and I'm going to bet he's going to sign probably a 7 or 8 year deal. And he's probably going to pull in around $15 million a year. So if he does 8 years, you're looking at what, 8 times 15? I think he's going to probably pull in about $15 million a year. So you're looking at $120 million that he might make. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a receiver. But I bet you he does sign a 7 or 8 year deal, and I bet you it's more than $100 million. I want to go ahead and say I'm proud again that we did sign our offensive lineman, Tyron Smith. I do think he's one of the best left tackles in the league. He's proven it already, and he deserves the money. He is one of the top, if not the top, left tackle in the game. He's also has the ability to, go to the right tackle and play the game as well if they should need that. So he's a very versatile player. He's good with his feet. He's strong. He's smart. I love Tyron Smith, and that's how you win these games. That's how you get these running games going, and this is how you turn, you grind out the clock, is right there in the trenches with the offensive line. So I'm glad the Cowboys were smart and going ahead and signing him to a long year deal. They signed him to another 8 years. He still has 2 on his current deal. So they got the Cowboys got him locked up for the next 10 years. And I'm glad to see that. Sure, there's a chance he could get hurt, but Dallas did this smart as far as the salary cap because they're going to pay him less now than they would have to repay him for a new contract in the year 2016, 2017 or whatever if they had done a shorter deal. So the Cowboys are being smart. They're making a lot of smart decisions, just like they made a smart decision in the draft when they took Zach Martin. And Jerry Jones was able to go ahead and avoid the temptation of picking up Johnny Manziel, who everybody thought the Cowboys were going to get. I was really happy to see the Cowboys make a smart decision there. Already having Tony Romo locked up in a long contract. This is, of course, assuming that Romo stays healthy. If Romo goes down and we see Brandon Whedon start playing and throwing interceptions, I might be wishing the Cowboys would have taken Johnny Manziel. But no, I think the Cowboys are making some pretty smart decisions, and they have been for a few years. I get tired of hearing all the Jerry Jones bashing. Jerry Jones is one of the smartest, wealthiest men in America. He bought the Cowboys in 1989 for $140 million, and now the Cowboys, I think they're worth over $2 billion. So if you think that's stupid, if you think Jerry Jones is stupid, then, back it up. Go ahead and post a link, post proof that you're smarter than Jerry and you've made more money in the last, 25 years than Jerry Jones has. Yeah, show us how many billions and millions of dollars you've made. If you're going to bash Jerry Jones for being an idiot and all this kind of stuff, because I'm honestly tired of hearing that crap as well. Yeah, he loves his team. Jerry's a passionate guy. He probably does try to do too much. He wants too much of the credit for the Cowboys' success and winning. I agree with that. He probably should be, back up a little bit and let the guys he hires do most of the decision making and stuff like that. But I mean, it's his team, guys. Jerry Jones bought the team. It's his team. He has a super high passion for his team. He wants to be part of it. I mean, who can blame him? He's got the Dallas Cowboys. If you own the Dallas Cowboys, are you telling me you wouldn't want to be part of it? You telling me you could just sit back like you do now with your bag of potato chips and watch the games and not say a word? No, I don't think I could either. So let's quit knocking Jerry Jones quite so much. Give him a break. He's an old man. He's 71 now, but he's still brilliant. He's probably smarter than me, you, and every other guy who watches this video put together. Jerry Jones is a very, very, very smart man. And even though he does some dumb things, at least in the eyes of us, leaves us scratching our heads, I think it comes from his love for his Dallas Cowboys, and that's why he makes those mistakes. Just like we as parents might make a mistake when it comes to our kid, because we love him so much. We buy him that toy in the store rather than swatting him, whatever it is. He loves his team. It's going to happen. But with that, I think I've covered a lot of the issues that I have. I can't say where I think the Cowboys are going to fall this year. If Romo stays healthy and they start learning how to drive the clock and do the running game and stuff like that, I think the Cowboys could potentially make the playoffs. But they're going to have to learn how to run out the clock and have ball control and start running the ball. They can't be always throwing these bombs and throwing it all over the field and scoring quick, or we're going to get beat. We're going to have a 4-12 season even if Romo stays healthy. So it's really going to depend a lot of what we do this year on Romo's health, on the health of the rest of the team besides the guys that we've already lost. So many variables, it's really hard to say. But I really want to see at least the Cowboy fans stop bashing Tony Romo. He's one of our best players by far. And quit bashing Jerry Jones so much. He's the owner of the team. It's understandable. We all have a lot of passion for our love. I've been a Cowboys fan since I was 6 years old. For the last 35 years, I've loved the Cowboys. So, I have a lot of passion, but, if you think about it logically, I think you can understand that Jerry Jones, who owns the team and has had the team for 25 years, he may not want to, like I say, he may not want to be a backseat watcher of his team. Anyway, with that, I want you guys to go ahead and leave your comments down below. What do you think? Do you guys think I'm smoking dope? Do you think I'm high? What are your opinions on the Cowboys? Are you even a Cowboys fan? If you're not, be sure you tell us who you're a fan of down below. Be Be sure you rate this video. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. If you give me a thumbs down, don't just do that to do it. Be sure you leave me a comment on how you think I can improve my videos in the future, what you didn't like about this video, that kind of thing. Keep in mind, while I'd like to actually show video highlights and stuff like that in my videos, I don't have that luxury. So I pretty much just have to take pictures and put them up, because I don't want to get copyright. I've already got one copyright a couple years ago by showing some highlights of a football game, and I got a copyright strike on my YouTube account and had to wait 6 months of just doing like 10-minute videos or whatever. That kind of sucks, so I don't want to go there again. Be sure you tell me, what you want to see from me as a Cowboy fan. Do you like this kind of video? Do you like this kind of talk? Be sure you put all those comments down below. Let me know what you think, where you think I'm wrong, where you think I'm right, whatever it is. Also, be sure you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. And if you haven't clicked the button in the top right of the screen, right up in the top corner there, to subscribe to my videos so you get all my future videos, please do that now. Make sure you subscribe. And I want to go ahead and thank you guys for watching. This has been kind of a long video, so thanks for hanging in there with me. And this has been Zaxter99.